This is Active Trader Setups Trading Package installation video number 3. We're going to cover installing our chart templates and all of our other templates and our workspaces in this video, as well as make a backup for all that in case you ever do a reinstall and you forget to make backups yourself. First thing I want you to do is go over to the Trader Members section. Remember to log in and then go to the Trader's Tools Information page, and we're going to pick up where we left off on the last video where we just completed the last indicator installation. Now we are right here on next step, the template installation, and I want you to do a little preparation. Go ahead and get your NinjaTrader platform open, and go ahead and go to your documents folders and get over to our ATS files folders we've already created as we've gone along. So the first thing we're going to do once we have all this ready is we're going to go to our templates file, click on this file, we're going to download it. We're going to click show in folder down at the bottom left here, and we're going to move or copy that over into our ATS files folder that we just had opened, and then from there we're going to install that. So I've clicked on that, it's downloaded in the bottom left here. I'm going to show in folder. Okay, sometimes you'll get this from Google and you want to say keep. You want to keep that file. It's a pretty normal caution from them. So we have our file. You're going to click here and say show in folder. That folder is going to pop up, and then we want to get our other folder we already had open, which was our ATS file folder, and we're going to take this and drag it over here and drop it. You can just leave this open because we're going to move something in a few minutes over there again. So now we have this in our folder, and we're going to install that through our NinjaTrader platform. That's the next part of our directions, is now that we have it in the folder, we're going to install that from the platform. So from our tools menu, following our directions, we're going down to import, NinjaScript add-on. We're going to go into our ATS folder, and we're going to get our template 3 file, open, and they give it a moment. There's a lot of stuff in here. First question wants me to know if we want to replace the new symbols data load that you already have on your computer. We'll just say yes. That way if I update that, you'll have the latest version. So you see it was putting the workspaces right in the folders and creating some of those folders as well. So we've successfully imported. Let's hit OK. And if we click on our workspaces, you'll see a whole list of new workspaces have been installed. And under tools, if we go to right click and load a chart template, this is your normal folder where all your templates are. If you already had NinjaTrader installed, you probably already have some chart templates here. What we did to keep from cluttering up what you already may have if you're a present NinjaTrader user is we made file folders that all of these are in. So we have a backup of everything with all the different templates for the charts in here. We have them divided into sections. We have a futures section. We have 2 of those. They're identical with one difference. The other one is charts without labels. One has charts with labels. And the Workspaces preload these, so You don't necessarily need them, but if you ever want to reinstall a template, or you're trying to create a chart from scratch and you want to start with a template and then take some things off or add some things on, this is where you'll go find those at. And then you can save your new versions right in the folder that you're using. I want to bring your attention in Workspaces. You don't see any folders because they don't allow you to save items in folders. What I did is now in your NinjaTrader 8 platform, if you go into, open you a new Explorer window, not one of the two we're already on, a brand new one, and if you navigate into Documents and then over into Ninja 8, inside of Ninja 8, if you go to Templates, you'll see that in the charts we have everything I just showed you. Also, I brought in some ATM strategies, and I brought in some indicator templates where I've saved the defaults on most of our indicators, and that way you can actually load those defaults that I saved. And also we have nothing in the market analyzer. All those are saved, but there's no reason for you to load them because they don't have the alerts attached to them, so that you wouldn't know what to do with them if you loaded them up from empty anyway. And if you reloaded them, you would lose all your alerts, so that's no purpose in sending those over. So just let you know, we had put a few more things in there, and then something I want to show you in the Workspace folder. Remember, I just showed you there's no folders, but on the install, we installed folders. Now you can't get to them, you can't open anything from within here, but if you ever need, if you corrupt one of these files that's located in your Workspaces here, you can go into the futures and get that workspace and copy it. There's some more in the one monitor as well. You could copy those and repaste them back in the main folder and replace a corrupt one. You can do that on all the stock ones as well. There's a one monitor folder in here too. And you can go into the backup and find every single one of them except for the futures backup. There's no futures backup. You just have these here. And these are some old scanners are actually in here too. So it's kind of a backup plan for you. We built it into the NinjaTrader Workspaces even though you can't access them from the menu directly. And I'm going to ask you to shut down NinjaTrader. They normally say that you will not see these new folders installed. I know if you copy them from the area we were just looking at and then you paste them into the Workspaces, you will not see them. But I think since we installed them, they're actually there and active. But I want you to shut down and restart before we go any further in NinjaTrader. And then we're going to take that last step on those backup files I mentioned to you, and then we're going to look at what we have inside this installation real quick. Before we get back into the NinjaTrader platform, I do want you to have shut that down and then give it a minute and then restart it. I like to give it a minute to let all the connections reset and so forth. I want to go back to the web page, and we're going to go down to the next section. Now this video is linked right on the website for you to go in and watch it as you're doing this procedure. The last step is we want to get this backup I mentioned to you downloaded. So first I want to just close this out down here and get it out of the way. And then I'm going to download this zip file. And we're letting it get downloaded, and we may get that caution again from Google that we got before. Still downloading. It's a pretty big file. And then I want to go back to our folder that we had open. Now, as a safety precaution, there's another free indicator we use, and it's a TC bar profiler used with the futures contracts and running the value area scanners. So that was involved in that last installation, but to be sure it works correctly, I want to install it from the raw file that was provided by the coder of that indicator. I just don't want to take any chances of messing up our templates. So I want to install this from scratch. So we're going to go right here. This is the same page we were on. We're going to download this file. It's putting it right over here beside us as we've been doing the whole time. We're going to show in folder. We still got our other folder open. And we're just going to slide that right over in that folder with our ATS files. And now we're going to go install it. It probably didn't put the one next to yours. I probably already have a copy in my hard drive here. So what you ended up with, since you didn't have a copy already in your download folder, was this file right here. So now we're done with this. We're going to close this out, and we can close this out. And now we're going to go to NinjaTrader and install that file. And it's going to ask us, do we want to override it? We're going to, of course, say yes. So we're installing the NinjaScript add-on. We're going right here to our TC bar profiler. And do we want to replace it? And let's just say yes. And it says it wants us to shut down again for that to take effect, and I do want to do that. So go ahead and shut down, give it a moment, and then let's reboot. Now I've been installing this on my main PC from scratch in each of these videos, so I am hoping this is going to work right. And if you're a futures trader, do not open any of these futures workspaces until you go to the video on the website about rollover. And that will be found on the Getting Started page, Best Practices. There's a lot of videos down in the bottom areas right in here. These are the old version 1. This has nothing to do with futures. Old version 1 videos that go back and talk about those end-of-day workspaces, intraday trading, intraday workspaces, and some of those workspaces are already in your folder, and then others are in those old file folders that I just showed you that we install for you. So all these are over a year old, and they're all still work, and they work just like they were designed to work. So these are all pretty long videos, but if you're a swing trader, you're going to want to really get into these videos here on learning about that, and others are learning to work with your templates and your workspaces. We're making some more shorter videos about these items, but to learn more about the in-depth part, this is what you'll be wanting to watch. Now for you futures traders, right here there's going to be a video rolling over futures contracts. I'm about to roll over these files myself and make the video as I do it. What happens is we've got a workspace created with a contract that's, as you're installing this, is most likely expired. And we have very complicated charts that may have the micros and the futures on the same chart. For that reason, you can't change the symbols on those charts. The rollover will do it all for you. So you have to open the workspace and run the rollover procedure. Even if it's a year after we made these workspaces, the rollover procedure is supposed to populate those charts that are open in those workspaces. And if you ever open an old workspace that you've never had open before, and you look on there and it says ES 0619, and it's well into the future past that, you need to, before you touch any of the charts and change any symbols, run the rollover procedure, and it will populate those charts with the present futures symbols. If you do not do that, all those charts are going to be worthless, and you can dump that workspace and go to your backup and bring it back in because it's been destroyed. And we're going to have a series of videos that are going to cover the workspaces and all the charts that are inside the workspaces and what they do. If you're a futures trader, you need to watch this small part about the stock charts we're going to open, and then you'll want to get right on to the rollover video. I'm going to go open a workspace. I'm going to close a couple of these that I don't need anymore. And I'm going to get connected to my data source. I use IQ Feed and Kinetic. I have two computers. Actually, I have three computers, but I only run two live. Okay, so I'm connected. And earlier I had the new symbol data load on here, updating some data files because I hadn't used this computer in about 3 weeks. So I updated the symbols from the load 100 file. So we'll try to look at something in the A's. We're going to go to a workspace, and I'm going to go down and show you how to get started very, very briefly. You don't need any of the masters. This is one for just scanners only. We'll cover that in a video. This is a multi-chart, a 2-screen for if you're if you trade a lot and you trade fast. If you only have one monitor, open this one here. Now when you open it, if it says there's something outside the windows, you want to say yes, bring them in. I mean, with a one monitor system, you're going to be very crowded, but I'm going to open that one. And I'm going to go right on over to a 2-monitor. If you're working with one monitor, my practice is to stack things on top of each other. And I'm just going to show you real quickly how to navigate it. We're not even going to talk about the charts. It's trying to load some data, and it's been a while since I loaded UHS. Do not color code anything in red. If you do and you happen to have your futures charts open, they're all coded in the red up in the corners here. So if you happen to be somebody that likes to go back and forth and look at futures charts, if you set up some charts and you use red here and you populate a chart here and you got your futures workspace open, it's going to mess up your charts in your futures area. So don't use red. Now you have a scanner down here. There are multiple scanners. You never want to load all these at one time. We'll talk more about that at first. If it were I would start right here with these inflection charts. Would be what I was looking at. We'll look at for day trading, but there's all kind of different scanners you can use. There's pre-alerts for reversals. This is a good one here as well. Starts picking up the little wick candle as soon as it starts forming to give you a quicker look at a trade setup. You could do that for swing trading too, just on bigger scanners in a 25. And then over here, we'll definitely get into this. Do not put any symbols in these instant short, instant long. There's 4 of them. You definitely need to be using the platform before you even think about fooling with that. Now, if you're just sim trading, they're set for sim accounts. You can experiment with that. The charts are loading here, but I want to show you just how I have them stacked and see how they loaded on this monitor. And you just have to right click and bring your data box back into play. And I left a space right over here for the data box. And you want to make it auto size. I right clicked and clicked auto size. I don't like it always on top. It defaults to that, so I like to turn that off. If you bring up a web browser, it's in your way. Now, our inflection charts are these lines here. We're going to learn about those. They're shown in your box over here, all those inflection areas. The other charts are stacked on each other. So the way I did them, this is supposed to be up in the top area. It moved it down. So I kind of keep this up at the top. So I'm going to move it up top. And I'm going to move this one down a little bit. I do not want to cover up this one. I've got another chart. I can also make this smaller. Now I got room to bring this chart up, put it over near your edge, and you can see this next chart tucked in here. Bring it up, leave it a little to the inside, make it some wider, move it down some. We're going to get this one. We're going to bring it up as well. We're going to take it down even lower, stretch it all the way down, get it big as I can get it. And I'm going to move over here. So now what we've done is we stack these so you can navigate between your clouds and your tabs. And if you want to move the next chart down, it's right here. That's why we've got them kind of shaped like we do here. You can move down to this one. You can go navigate through it. And then you can go down to the bottom one. So we've stacked those on top of each other so that you can do that in that manner. This is the ones you'll use the most is on the top. Now over here is another chart stacked on top. This is an inflection chart. It's a little too high. This has got the chart trader on it, so it needs to be tall so you can see it all. Let me see what's behind it. I think I just got two stacked there. So you want to leave yourself just enough room to move back and forth. And now you've got a workspace with a good bit of information in it. You'll learn about more what to do with these scanners in other videos. So any changes you make right there, you just want to take it and go down to your stock starter one monitor, just save it. Now, if you want to modify this, get rid of stuff, move it around, my suggestion is go to Workspace, save as, and give it another name, and then you set it up just like you want it. That way you keep this original like it was in case you mess something up as you're creating your personal setup. You may want to put some of your other charts in place of those as well. But you can come back to this and use it as a master rather than messing it up. So do a save as, give it a new name. This will still be there, and you can come back to that. Now I'm going to go over to the 2 monitor now. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. It's the same charts. They're more spread out, more friendly. And I want you to get a look at that look. But we now have everything installed. Everything seems to be working fine. And we're getting the installs. And these, like I say, these will be, you see them moving around a little bit from where I had them placed. I tried to bring them in around the edges when I built them because the different monitors have different settings on them. And you might, like I said, you might get something that says you're outside the space and you click it and it brings it inside the space. Now, see, on this is entirely different on my computer here now. I'll give you a shot of my other screen. But now I have the charts that I wanted here. I got a little overlap. I would take this, of course, and move it up. And I would widen this out a little bit or narrow it out, move it over so I can get the most use out of my space. And then you can widen out your chart a little bit. So that's all you kind of want to do is modify slightly. And I have a 4K monitor as my secondary monitor on this machine here. I have 2 standard monitors and 1 4K. So when you open it up in a 4K, of course, everything's really small. I'll just give you a screenshot of that in just a second because I'm not going to try to remove the video on the 4K screen. But you just kind of move your stuff around, work it to suit your needs. And then your alerts that go off, they end up here. Now the alerts in this 2 monitor, they're over on the other screen. There's a quick screenshot of that 4K monitor and the different scan market analyzers where you run your scanners off of. Like I say, you don't want to overload these. And then some more charts that are over here that are all stacked on top of each other, and I'll have to move those around. But you can see how much space I've got left over there. This would have probably fit in a normal monitor, and that's what I saved them in. I didn't want to create them in a 4K monitor environment on these workspaces. So if you're using 4K, of course, you can have a lot more charts. I'm just going to save this workspace. What I've done to it, I'll go back and change a lot more to fit my machine. And then I want to show you one more workspace. Now what you can do when you have a workspace open, if you close this, it's going to take you back to the last one you had open. But I want to go ahead and just close that one monitor out, and it'll ask you, do you want to save? You say yes, and now it's going to give you some pop-ups. I wanted to show you this. You will get pop-ups for all these scanners that are open. It'll say you got alerts running. You're always going to answer yes. It will pop up 2 or 3 times. There's 333 alerts built into one of those market analyzers. Sometimes you'll get 3 of those pop-ups, and they'll be random around your monitor screen when you shut those down. Always going to happen, and the answer is always going to be yes. Now I'm going to open up this multi-chart. I want to give you a screenshot of what I do with that as well. And then we're going to end this video. Same kind of thing coming in. This is one I trade from regularly. I've got my inflection chart. I like to look at the open, the close. Yesterday's open and so forth. We'll explain all those charts in their own personal videos. I'm big on my inflection indicators. I have my cloud charts over on the right hand monitor, and this is additional that's popping up here in the middle because I haven't figured out where I want to put it yet. It's one I use. It's a multi-function. It's got a lot of information loaded in it. I'm going to go ahead and get you a screenshot on that other monitor. And I've got several different cloud scanners over here, but what you'll see is you see the different colors. I've got the same chart side by side. I got 2 charts open that I can tab between. I can trade off these charts, and I have 4 different symbols over there. So as I'm loading a symbol from scanners or from a watch list, I'm populating the yellow chart is my main one, and then as I'm trading others, and you can duplicate these more and more and more, and we'll explain in videos how to do that. This particular chart is a smaller 10 tick, where the others are 25s on these bigger stocks, but I can move from chart to chart to chart, and I can trade off of this. These are color coded the same as the other charts over to the right I just showed you. I may enter a trade with this, but I don't want to set a stop on this little. I'll set my stop on the bigger chart. If you happen to have 2 of these buttons set to stop on 2 different charts, it will send in 2 different sets of stops. So you have to learn how to work with that. It's easy. You'll see them both on the chart. You just delete one of them, and you'll realize that you've got 2 open. If you're just trading from one chart, it doesn't matter. But these, when I load here, see I got this on the yellow. So if I load in a symbol from this watch list or from my scanner logs up here, I also have those in yellow, and they'll load this one chart. And the reason I want this one chart loaded is I've got my inflection chart here. I've got a tab for the yellow, and then I got the other chart we saw off to the side. I'm going to drag that over here for just a moment. If you had this and you wanted to see more stocks, if you don't have room for more chart windows, then you would take this and right click, duplicate new tab, and it would create you another tab here. And you do the same thing with this one, duplicate new tab, and then we change the colors to something different. Don't do it in red. And then you would have 2 tabs for this symbol, and you'd have 2 more tabs for another symbol, 2 more tabs for another symbol. You can stack these in there in that manner. Or if you've got room for other windows, or maybe you even have more monitors, then you can right click the top of this and say duplicate the window, and it will duplicate the window with both the charts in it. You could do that with 5 or 6 charts. If you created 6 tabs, you could do that then and duplicate that window, and you'd have 6 more. And then you can move those where you want them, change the colors or whatever you want to do with that, or have no colors if that's your preference. I'm going to close this one back out. I'm going to move this back over where I got it from, and I'm going to save my workspace. So there's a very, very basics of getting started with this. Futures guys, we want to get over there on the rollover instructions so you can get those workspaces going for you. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for using our products. Many training videos behind these on all the charts, how they work, what you do with them, how you find them. The key to finding trade, or key to making great trades, is finding the trades. You want to come in at the inflection points. You're selling off, inflection point. You're running up, breaks out in the morning, pulls back, inflection point. Goes up, where do you get out? Inflection point. Reversal, inflection point. That's what it's all about, guys. You find good setups, you can make plenty of money. Thanks for watching. Thanks for using our products, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the gathering room.